Williams Racing was once a force to be reckoned with. Now, not so much. Just last year, the Williams family sold their racing franchise to an American venture capital fund because they couldn't manage to keep it afloat. But now they're on a path to improvement, and they believe Nyck de Vries will help take them there. First up, Williams sees Nyck de Vries as worthy of the F1 grid spot. Currently, the driver situation at Williams is, how do we put it nicely, a mess the size of Texas. One of their drivers, Nicholas Latifi, is dead last. The other driver, the once promising Alex Albon, is in 16th place. Yikes! From winning back-to-back championships to barely remaining competitive, Williams has fallen a great deal. But now they're planning to rectify the situation. The Williams racing team is now planning to give one of their spots to de Vries. De Vries is currently racing with Mercedes in Formula E, FIA's all-electric version of Formula One. He's also the reserve driver for the current Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team. De Vries has proven himself as a great racer consistently throughout Formula E. He's also won the championship of the all-electric series. Williams has now added to the previous speculations that they're now getting ready to have Formula E champion Nyck de Vries join their squad sometime in the near future. The 27-year-old Dutch driver had never driven for Formula One before the race weekend in Barcelona in 2022. Despite only having an hour to prepare for the FW44, Williams' Formula One car in the simulator, he was able to outpace Williams' current Formula One driver, Nicholas Latifi. He was almost a tenth of a second quicker than it. Latifi has been struggling with the vehicle and is unable to capture his previous great form ever since new regulations for the cars came in. He's also unable to get himself familiar with the massive changes made in the car post-regulations. Although the Iranian-Canadian driver is only 26 years old, his current form suggests he might have to retire from Formula One altogether and start racing elsewhere. But it's not all over for Latifi, as he can be bumped down to reserve driver for any of the teams, where he'll be given yet another opportunity to prove his performance. In the meantime, though, things look kind of bleak for him. Next, does Williams actually plan on changing drivers, or is it all speculation? Here's the thing about Formula One, though. It's full of speculation and fake news. When you have 2 weeks between races, media houses, blogs, and websites dedicated to Formula One news need to churn something out. So before we even start picturing de Vries in the Williams F1 car, we need to make sure that Williams too is on board with the whole thing. So it looks like it's not fake news after all. Dave Robson, the head of vehicle performance for Williams, is 100% sure that the current Mercedes reserve and test driver has what it takes to succeed in Formula One. Talking to the media, Robson stated his pace was there. His ability to understand the tire and do the outlap correctly was impressive. Robson was also impressed by de Vries' feedback on the car's performance post-session. He found it to be useful and in line with what the current drivers are saying. Robson also recognized that considering de Vries only got an hour in the simulator, his performance was spectacular. During an interview about the de Vries situation, Robson's final remarks were, "He has what he needs to be a top-quality competition driver. He's worthy of a place on the grid," which so many people are. So it seems like it's not all speculation. Williams is genuinely interested in making this happen. They're willing to let one of their drivers go for de Vries. If this does happen, though, it could mean exciting things for the once great racing team. And now, who will he replace? Williams has not hinted at which driver will be replaced by de Vries. However, it's quite clear he'll be replacing Nicholas Latifi. Although Alex Albon isn't one of the greatest drivers out there, he still outperforms Latifi most of the time. The funny thing is, he wasn't even in Formula One last season, and here he is outperforming Latifi. Another funny thing to note is that de Vries wasn't even subbing for Latifi, he was subbing for Albon, but ended up becoming Latifi's nightmare. But still, the season is far from over. Latifi could still prove himself to be better than Albon. If the deal is done and Latifi ends up proving himself, even then all hope isn't lost. Many low and mid-tier teams have driver contracts ending this season. He could end up going to one of those teams too. So all in all, we can't be too sure who he'll be replacing, but it's 99% going to be Latifi. When this eventually happens, we'll miss the Iranian-Canadian on the grid. So does this mean Williams will be great again? Well, not so fast. Williams' problems will be far from over. Even though de Vries is a good racer, he still isn't close to the likes of Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc, and Sainz. So Williams may not come dead last next year, but they won't be able to break the mid-tier either. On top of that, the other problem is the car. Firstly, their engine is designed by Mercedes, and can anyone guess what other team is performing terribly below expectations? expectations this season? If your answer was the Mercedes-AMG Petronas team, then you'd be correct. This season's engine is just not fast enough in both the cars. Secondly, Williams isn't owned by a family or a person that's passionate about racing. Neither is it owned by a major manufacturer like Mercedes, Ferrari, or Renault. It's owned by a VC fund, and VC funds only care about profits, so they won't be able to run the team sustainably. In the end, whatever happens, we hope it's for the best for Williams. It's extremely sad to see a team that was once the king of F1 fall from grace. But let's now talk about some other news coming from the world of F1. Next, in other news, Perez makes history with first win at Monaco. The Monaco Grand Prix was dramatic, to say the least. It started a couple of hours after its original start time because it was raining cats and dogs on the street circuit. Once the race began, it was just chaotic. Amidst the chaos, Sergio Perez, a veteran Mexican racer, emerged victorious. At first, Charles Leclerc of Ferrari was expected to win. He had the skill set and the advantage of Monaco being his home. He'd also walked on the same streets for all of his life. However, once the messy race began, it appeared as if Carlos Sainz of Ferrari would be winning the race. But plot twist, Perez outsmarted Ferrari and took the lead. Charles Leclerc and his team just did not switch from all-weather tires to dry tires fast enough once the track began to dry. This made him drop from the first position to the fourth, opening the door for Perez to jump to the front. And now Perez issues an apology to wife after dancing with random women. Perez is no saint. After his win in Monaco, the Red Bull star was seen partying in videos. The 32-year-old was seen on a yacht, dancing with his arms around a blonde girl and getting super close to another girl as well. The star was also caught on camera kissing a woman. Considering Perez already had 2 children with his wife and recently welcomed a baby to their family as well, his actions were not so commendable, to say the least. But he thinks he and his wife are all okay now. Perez took to Instagram to acknowledge the videos and apologize to his wife. He claims it was just a really bad party that he lost control of, and he's not the kind of person who would do that. He admits his wrongdoing. According to him, however, he and his wife, Carola Martinez, are now more united than ever. Yikes. Finally, we have Sebastian Vettel, veteran racer or climate activist. If any of us were in Miami, we'd probably be too busy admiring the wealth, the yachts, and the party scene. However, if you're Vettel, you've already seen all of that. You're not worried about having a good time. You're more concerned about leaving a better world for the next generation. However, Vettel could have gone 2 ways about his activism. He could have talked about it to the press, or he could have, well, done what he did. Rather than plain old boring activism, Vettel wore a t-shirt at the race's opening party bearing an illustration of a race car driver breathing underwater with a snorkel. The t-shirt had Miami 2060 First Grand Prix Underwater with Act Now or Swim Later underneath it. Miami, along with Mumbai, Shanghai, NYC, and Jakarta, is considered by some to be one of the fastest sinking cities in the world and could be underwater by 2050. It's worth noticing that Vettel was the only racer to wear something other than his team's uniform. What Vettel did may seem like a bold choice to some, but when you factor in the increasingly worrisome future of Miami, it seems quite appropriate. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Who will Nyck de Vries replace? Will it be Latifi like we all expect, or will it be Alex Albon? Let us know all your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. See you next time, guys. Bye!